Hi, this is going to be a Molgera quick kill tutorial, or one cycle, whatever you call it. If you're more familiar with Wind Waker, you're probably, aware of the fact that usually when you fight this boss, after you deal a certain amount of damage, Molgera will retreat and kind of end the cycle, and this process is kind of repeated 4 times before you can actually kill Molgera entirely. That's kind of slow and annoying. There are other faster ways to kill it, such as the air snipe and the double snipe, to kind of expedite the fight a little bit, but that's still not the most optimal way. Currently, that optimal way is the quick kill, which allows you to kill Molgera without it ever retreating, and thus without a cycle ever ending, and that's pretty speedy, but it's kind of weird to do. So, then that's what we'll be going over in this video. What kind of makes that work is that for some reason, when you hookshot Molgera and then deal the cycle-ending damage in a certain frame window after the hookshot grab on the tongue, Molgera seems to enter some weird stunned state for a small brief period before fully ending the cycle. And we can abuse that fact by hookshotting on a specific frame, allowing us to re-grab the tongue after that damage is dealt, and then negating the cycle from ending, allowing us to begin another fresh set of damage without it ever retreating. And we can repeat that process to kind of kill Molgera without it ever leaving, and that's pretty fast if done optimally. So you have to do it 3 times, because you have to do it every time the cycle would end, and with 4 cycles, if you do it 3 times, you can finally kill it normally in that 4th cycle. So the first time, I'm going to go through it just to show it off, and then the latter 2 times I'll kind of explain more in depth. What you need first and foremost is hookshot, as usual with this fight, and bombs, as that will be what we use to deal the cycle-ending damage with the timed hookshot. So to kind of start, you want that bomb to be the cycle-ending damage, so you want to prepare that. So what you always do before attempting is you hookshot and slash twice. And then now I will show the trick, and then I will explain after. So that worked. That was it in its entirety. That was actually a pretty decent attempt in the second part. So now I'll go step by step and kind of explain what happens at each point. So now we've done the trick once. This is technically the 2nd cycle, but it didn't retreat, so I still have it. But I can deal more damage, like so. And that's what you want to do every time you do another attempt, because you want to, again, have that bomb be the damage that will end the cycle before each attempt. And now, kind of highlighted on the left is kind of 2 main steps that are repeated over and over to kind of make this trick succeed. So the first thing is that you want to do a timed hookshot on the tongue to have the bomb explode during a certain frame window, so that, it enters this weird stun state. So what I like to do is slash twice, and then, one little thing to note is if you don't hookshot in a while, the tongue will leave and retreat. So that's kind of annoying. So what I like to do is place the bomb, hookshot again, and then get out of range of the explosion. And now we're going to use a visual cue to help time our hookshot. So what I like to do is, as you see in the parentheses in step 1, hookshot once you see the bomb start to expand. So in this game and in most Zelda games, the flashes of the bomb start getting faster and faster, and eventually it in fact starts growing too. And once you visually see it start growing at all, you hookshot, and that should be the timing. It's pretty lenient, but it can be kind of annoying, and there are some ways you can fail, but I'll kind of highlight that towards the end. Just as looking forward a little bit, what you want to do is do that hookshot, and then once you confirm that the hookshot is connected and pull the tongue, you want to prepare to spam hookshot after to lead into step 2. That's not exactly the most optimal way to do it, but that's what I do, and I'll kind of explain why after. So just to summarize what I'm about to do is I'm going to unpause, time the hookshot, so once I see the bomb start expanding, and then I'm going to start spamming hookshot after, and we'll be in step 2. So that worked, and I'm now in step 2. So now we have to do a frame-perfect hookshot in order to negate the cycle from ending. So it's in this weird stun state right now. And now let me pause and explain some more things. So you may be wondering, hey, it's a frame-perfect window, why am I just spamming it, and why is it not failing? Well, if you look at the note on the bottom left, the thing about this weird stun state is that, yes, if you're late, the cycle ends and the trick fails. And that's bad. But if you're early, the stun timer simply resets. And you can do that over and over again as many times as you want without it ever going away. So as you can see, I'm spamming early every time, and it's just stuck here. But if I were to wait, it would leave and retreat, and I'll show that later. So, optimally what you would want to do is kind of what happened in that first attempt, which was pretty fast that I did without explaining much, is that ideally you would just time the second hook shot in the first frame immediately and then just get it and nail it. However, you know, sometimes that can be a little difficult, so, you know, optimally, if that's what you want to do, go for that. However, for the sake of the tutorial and the way I do it, the way I'm explaining it, I'll kind of do an easier way to how to do it. It obviously loses some time, but it kind of lets you get more consistency if you're not comfortable with that frame. So what I like to do is, again, after you do the first time hook shot, I spam, get control of the situation, and then slowly shoot the hook shot slower and slower each time, or like later and later each time, slowly wiggling your way to that 1 frame window. And it should look as the following. So that worked. And I just went later and later each time on the next hook shot, so that eventually I wiggled my way, and eventually I got it. So that's the trick in entirety. That's the second time I've done it in this set of attempts. So now I need to do it one more time for the trick to be fully complete, and I can kill it normally. So I'll do it one more time again. I'll run through it. So again, slash twice. Place the bomb. Hook shot again. Get out of range. Now. So that missed. So that is when I went too early. Now. And now I get control of the situation, and I go later and later each time. And that worked. And then now we've done it 3 times, we can just kill Molgera as normal. And the trick works in entirety. Or that is the trick in its entirety. And that's pretty much the gist of it. I'm going to go over a couple more things really quick, just to show off some of the things that can happen. So first off, I honestly think the first part is the hardest. It can be kind of weird, it can fail in different ways, and I've kind of highlighted 3 that I'll talk about right now to help you kind of debug that. So the 3 things that can really happen is 1, you hookshot too early, and the bomb doesn't connect. That's the one way you saw me fail it earlier, a couple moments ago. Because when you initially hookshot, before it enters that weird frame window, we're able to do the first step. There's kind of an invulnerability in the beginning. And if you hookshot too early, the bomb explodes during that little small invulnerability window, and the bomb just doesn't connect. And that just sucks. But luckily, you can still recover from that, because you still have Molgera's tongue with you. 2 is if you're late on the hookshot, the bomb just hits normally, and then Molgera retreats and the trick fails, and that's unrecoverable because, you know, you kind of have to, you move on to the next cycle, and then the little worms spawn, and it's really annoying to kind of back up the trick unless you kill all the little worms. So usually you just take the L and just fight normally and use air snipes. The 3rd way it can fail is if you end up standing too far away from the bomb, and then you pull the tongue out of the bomb radius, the explosion radius, and then the bomb doesn't hit again either, but that's also recoverable because you can just, again, you still have the tongue with you, you just retry. So those are kind of the 3 main ways you want to debug it. And yeah, and then another small thing is optimally you'd place the bomb before the slashes, because, you know, you don't have to wait as long on the bomb, but again, that's just not the way I do it. But if optimally, the things you want to improve on that I don't do are 1, place the bomb before the slashes, and 2, time the second hookshot shot better instead of just like kind of spamming and then slowly wiggling your way, because it's more consistent in a sense, but if you can just get the muscle memory down for the frame perfect shot, more power to you. So those are the 2 things that you want to work on. So now I'm going to go through the trick one more time in its entirety, hopefully get it clean, and then that'll be it for this video. So again, I've slashed twice. I will now do the trick in its entirety. So place the bomb, get out of range, wait for the expanding. So that worked. You control the situation, go slower and slower, and then you get it. And repeat this 3 times until the trick is done. Slash twice, place bomb, hook shot. Good. Control the situation. Wiggle closer and closer to the window. That worked. And then one more time. So that time I went too early, and then I went so early that I hit it again, and then I ended up being early again because I had another time. So that's another thing. You can go so early because the hook shot is so quick to finish. You can go so early that you can get another hook shot in, and then you can be early or late again, and that's kind of weird to like wrap your head around. But that's just another thing that can happen. So if you go so early, you can also just hook shot again and get it, or not get it, and that's like something you kind of have to recognize that can be kind of annoying to understand. That was my biggest problem when I was learning this, is I was going too early and I couldn't diagnose it. So that's too late. And then it retreats and goes away. So that's what that looks like. Hello, since you probably just saw me fail the first step, I thought it would be good to cut here and show what it looks like to fail the second step. So right now, I've re-grabbed the tongue in the weird stun state, and this is what happens if you're just late. It just ends and leaves. So that's what happens. Yeah. So then I will now cut back to the third attempt of the trick where I failed, and I'll start fresh there, and then show what should happen. BRB. One more little quick aside while I'm talking about the second step is another thing regarding like the timing of slowly wiggling your way towards the window. What I like to do, maybe if you've noticed, is that I only attempt on this every other hook shot, and on like the one in between I just spam immediately because I like to keep the tongue distance the same every time I attempt. You should optimally, if you miss it, the frame perfect timing early, you should always attempt on every hook shot, but the distance changes and it can be kind of hard for you to mentally kind of grasp it. So what I like to do is attempt on the close ones where it's right next to Link, and then make those slower and slower. But the second one where it's far away, I always just spam. And that's how I time it and wiggle my way, just to give a little more clarity on that. And then I know I mentioned I would cut back to the third attempt right before I finished the trick, but I had an interesting attempt leading up to it, so I ended up just leaving that all in. So cutting back to another full attempt where some stuff that I thought were interesting to be left in happened. So we're going back there now. Wow, that was a frame perfect second shot. Like, that's what it looks like if you do it optimally. Interesting. Maybe I'll leave that in. I was gonna cut back to here. So this is the third attempt where I failed last time. That time I failed, but this is recoverable. Got it for the third time. Not slash. Remember slash. You ever feel like you're going really late and it's still not working? You probably didn't slash. Whoops. So that was a example of going too early, but so early that I could shoot again. Don't be like me. And you did it 3 times, kind of scuffed. You kill it normally again. I usually don't quick spin just to avoid the crash, but yeah. Interesting. I was gonna cut to the third attempt, but some weird stuff happened in that are, guys, kind of good to see, so I'll leave that in, I guess. But yeah, that's the entirety of the trick. Hopefully everything was clear. Again, I'm not the greatest at it, but I can do it, so don't really take this as the optimal way to do it, just use this as a learning tool. That is my advice to you, because you can easily do this better than I can. If you could do every one like that one perfect second shot I did, you would be kind of cracked. So yeah, that is all. If anything is still unclear, feel free to let me know. Join the Wind Waker Discord for speedrunning the SD version if you feel so inclined. I'll probably leave a link to that in the description or something, and there's a bunch of helpful people that'll help you with any questions you had regarding this or anything else that you possibly have questions on. I'll be there too, and I probably might be the one answering your question, maybe, maybe not. But yeah, that'll be all from me, and thank you. Bye-bye.